Welcome to EIPIP Meeting 73. Have shared agenda in chat. We have a few items added here for discussion today. Not a ton of them, but yet some of them are important to be discussed, and probably we can make some decisions to move forward with. The first item here is moderation and governance around community interaction. So we all are familiar with the spamming issue that was happening on GitHub. Like people show up to write whatever they want, but with moderation support from EF personnel, we are able to keep it in control and like delete spam comments and warn user, etc. And we are also familiar with like Twitter trolling and people screaming on Twitter for work not done as per their wishes. But recently, it was brought to our attention that similar behavior is observed on Fellowship of Ethereum Magician, a place where we think that every developer can share their thoughts about a proposal and probably share some ideas for governance. So it was related to the contributors who are trying to help us with EIP peer reviewing process. Obviously, people have shared their thoughts on Discord, and we think it is important to discuss moderation and governance around community interaction for providing a healthy ecosystem to Ethereum users. So anyone here, if you would like to share any thoughts on the issue or suggestion on moderating FEM or EIP GitHub in general?
So what's been going on? Just like spam, or is it more serious than just spam?
I'm referring to more of the conversation which was shared here in the ECH Discord, saying the author is suggesting that reviewer is not capable of doing the reviewing.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who called me a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what to do with that. He hasn't messaged me since, or they haven't. I don't know who they are. If they're rude to me again, I'll give them a warning, and I'll just stop interacting with them. But for the time being, I don't know if we need to do anything like systemic changes. Just this one person so far.
Yeah, it seems like that one individual was not only showed this kind of behavior on FEM, but he was also doing the similar actions on EIP GitHub repository. I suppose there was a link shared by PandaWave for his earlier action. So I wonder, like, if we have any plans to maybe take help of FEM team, or yeah, I don't know. Greg is here. Greg, if you may have any suggestion for adding warning to these kind of users, or maybe having it like banned or something like that for some time.
It just hasn't been an issue in the past. So we've had no real policy about it. But if it's, I hate getting into policies, if it's just one bad actor, you give them a warning and you block them.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Is there a way to report these people? Like when we get any spamming issue on GitHub, we have a forum where we report it to EIP editors, and those are banned and like deleted comment and everything else. Can we do similar actions on FEM as well?
There's a flag button, so I flag the messages. I don't know what the mods of Ethereum Magicians do, but yeah.
Yeah, flagging is definitely the first step and first good step in the direction of letting mods know about someone not behaving properly. Very well. I just wanted to share this so people are aware. I just want to also communicate that we want to keep all the discussion forum clean. By clean, I mean that everybody is here to contribute. So let's try to help each other rather than leg pulling. So if we come across any such issues further in future, probably will seek out to moderator of FEM. All right, moving ahead. We have few discussion continued from the earlier meeting. I think some of them were proposed by Sam, but unfortunately he wasn't there. So the first one is, I'm gonna share link here. It is related to EIP 5000. If I have not mistaken, the pull request number is. 5 7
Yes,
5
renaming
2 7.
yeah, renaming 5,000. I don't think we can talk about this today. I don't think we have Matt here, and he's feels pretty strongly about this one.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, last time we could not do it in your absence. I hope Matt joins later today so we can continue the discussion. Otherwise,
think-
I will.
I think he's
Yeah.
in Austria right now, so I don't think he'll be joining.
Oh, interrupt session.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Very well. I'll add it to the
Let's talk
next.
about 5,000 again.
Sorry?
I never want to talk about 5,000 again if that's the stupid numbering argument that caused McCaw to leave.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of those straws.
I thought we'd agreed to just have the bot assign numbers and forget about it.
In the future, yeah, but we haven't decided what to do with EIPIP 5,000 specifically. I'm okay with just leaving it. Like I can close my PR.
Yeah, I absolutely do not give a shit what we do with it. So I guess I prefer we just leave it alone and move on. But, whatever.
Has it been merged? I'm just trying to check it.
Yeah. 5,000's been merged.
Well, that's
Okay.
that, man.
Okay.
No, really, it's been merged. It has a number. Some of us don't like the number that it has, but it's not the only EIP with a number that was chosen because someone liked it and it was available.
Okay. So maybe we can drop the discussion for now, of course, and if people would request, then we can bring it back in the next meeting. Though it is open.
I'm just bringing it up because I'm always likely to miss meetings. So
Noted.
once again, register my longstanding opinion that we should drop this because I feel like a parent who wants to send their children to the room, say, go to your room, don't come out until you're ready to stop arguing. So it goes.
Right.
No, really, I don't have enough years left in my life for this kind of stuff.
I hope we don't get into this for a very long time and we get it resolved unless that pull request is closed. I mean, someone has to do it, either close it or have the discussion continued. Last time we didn't have like Sam, so we could not get through it. Now we don't have Matt. So I hope in the next meeting, both are there and we resolve it in time boxed 5 minutes only kind of thing. So we do not spend too much of time on it, but definitely we noted your opinion, Greg. Thank you so much for that. And obviously people who are here for a longer time, their experience and advice are always helpful. Moving on to the next item that is about updating the permitted links for EIP1. The number is 6306. Just we want to have general opinion, thoughts from the present editors if they have any objection and having it approved.
So I'm somewhat hesitant to allow links to eels, just because we might be changing the process a little bit, but I don't really care that strongly about it. If we want links to eels, we can do that. And I think the yellow paper is the other one, and I don't really see a problem linking to the yellow paper.
Okay, so from the last meeting, and as I can see it listed here on the comment section as well, looks like Matt had the exactly opposite view on that. Like he was +1 on execution specs, but -1 on yellow paper stuff. So either we have to like break this PR into 2 and then see if we can go ahead with 1.
Is this on the agenda? I'm not finding it. Oh, there it is. I need new glasses.
Could we add a comment like have it, like do not try to have two changes in one PR and then we can take it separately?
In the interest of not driving this person crazy, I think if we want to do that, I can split it into two PRs.
Okay. Greg, do you have any thoughts on this one? Like any
I-
particular suggestion on yellow paper or execution layer?
I'm still using my bad eyes to find and this oh, you idiot. The browser keeps popping up a dialog with no way to close the dialog. Okay, files changed. One triple dot view file. Wait a minute, this is like from 2015.
To provide some additional context, like earlier, we are trying to avoid adding links in any of the EIPs, and with 5757, I think we have certain links accepted, but here this is about getting permission to add the link for execution specs as well as the Ethereum yellow paper whenever and wherever needed.
Okay, so we don't have an EIP for this discussion.
No, we decided not to have EIPs for these discussions.
Okay, is there anything else to read on this, or did I just sort of miss out?
No, this is it. It's somebody wants to link to the yellow paper and the execution specs in their EIP, and so they're made a PR to allow them.
We need a PR to allow them to do that?
Yeah, yeah. The yellow paper isn't a source we allow right now.
Oh, fuck that.
Well, do you want it to be a source or no?
Yes, it's the
Okay.
yellow paper.
And execution specs, are you okay with that or no?
I can't use those specs.
Other people can though.
Good. I think they're good specs for writing a client from. You can basically port a client from those specs. They're hard to reference for a particular point because that point gets spread across the implementation.
Yes, absolutely. But are they a valid place to link to from an EIP? Is
Yes.
the question. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're +1 on both of these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be that linking into the EL is exactly the right thing to do to make your point. And it might not be. The yellow paper might be, yes, here's this piece of math, which is going to unload into 10 pages of code. And other times it's, here's these, 5 lines of code that unrolled from that math. I don't care about the math. I care about these 5 lines. That's why I've always said we're going to wind up needing more than one spec, and just keeping them together. And the EL is likely to stay current because we can, basically keep it on the cycle with the other clients, and the yellow paper is just going to run behind. We sort of need to beg the foundation to get resources on it to keep it up to date, or else decide that it's trash and just end of life it. I think that would be very unfortunate because the academics, especially the formalists and mathematicians, find that they can work with that paper pretty well. And a lot of them would not be able to use the EL at all because they're mathematicians. They're not computer programmers.
So one reason that has been prominent enough, the reason why people do not want links to be added is the chances of getting it changed. Execution specs, my understanding is it may change over the period of time. If I'm wrong, then probably it could be allowed. Same goes with yellow paper. Like if there are no changes expected after a certain point of time, then there shouldn't be any problem in having it. But as per my knowledge, yellow paper is being updated time to time. We had updated few EIPs to them yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay linking to it. I'll poke Matt and make sure he's not like violently against allowing links to it, and as long as he's not like horribly against it, I'll merge the PR.
There's just nowhere to go otherwise.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's kind of why I'm okay linking to it too.
I think the yellow paper itself, I'm gonna have to bring it up. The yellow paper itself has a version. Says what version it's caught up to. There we go.
I'm quite surprised it doesn't have a DOI number.
That'd be a good idea. I think it costs money to get yourself into the DOI system. Yeah, right at the top of the yellow paper. I think the current one is BEAF. I don't know what the BEACFBD means, but it says 2022-1024. So they are timestamped. So mainly when you reference it, you should reference the entire title, including the timestamp.
I think the proposed format is to link to the specific Git hash that the yellow paper is published under, so we can get like a cryptographically secure version for it.
That would also work.
Yeah,
that would also work. It's a little bit less useful, but the README includes a link to the PDF. Very few people are going to download the repo and build the PDF from source.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've ever succeeded at doing that. I've tried. Okay.
Very well. So it seems like Sam will check with the Matt. Greg is already in agreement, and if there is no strong disagreement, this would be merged. And the next one number is 6269. I think that is also related to the same issue that was blocked because there was no acceptance of yellow paper and execution specs. When we get a resolution to that, hopefully we can take care of this pull request as well.
Yeah, this is a hard one. There was some discussion of it I participated in. Gas costs was one of the sticky ones. But I mean, it's sort of a marketing term. So it's kind of hard to go in and tell marketers what to say.
That's why I'm kind of against allowing this one, because like, what is even the point of making an EIP that defines this? It's not like we're like the source of truth or anything. People can completely ignore an EIP.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't see a point in putting it in.
Yeah, it isn't telling anybody how to build Ethereum. It's trying to tell marketing people, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just shaking my head at I've read marketing blurbs of things that I've done. I'm just going like, that's not even close. But they say what they need to say to sell their product.
if you could leave a comment on that PR, just like a short one or something, that'd be great. If not, like I can write a note. But,
Yeah, I think I did, but probably not to that effect. There were sticky semantic issues. Gas is one. There's contracts that depend on it, and in some sense, yes, it's part of the semantics because it affects the behavior of the code. But in the other sense, it really wasn't intended to be a permanent feature of any opcode. We're hoping to just get rid of the gas opcode, so you can't know how much gas you're spending. And then you're down to the definition of semantics. I think in most language design, it's pretty much down to what is the output. And gas doesn't change the output, except that it changes when your program will terminate. But that's true in other languages. If you blow stack, your program will usually crash. And you can't really know when you're going to blow stack. And the term of art I know the term of art in the C++, and I think the C standard is that it will follow these rules within its resource constraints. And so running out of resources isn't part of the semantics of the standard. So I think we're in that sort of place, but it's hard to explain that to people. But we don't have a document that precisely defines all of the terms that we're using. We refer over to the IEEE, but I don't think it's clear on this. I think we'd have to dig in to what does it say about the ways that an internet client can fail that aren't considered part of the definition of the client's behavior. They have no idea how big a can of worms they've opened up here.
Yeah.
Given the like type and category, like in it being an informational EIP, like it would be nice to hear thoughts on like, should this kind of proposal be getting a place in EIP repo as informational, though it is not providing any specs for design?
It would obviously be more reasonable as an informational EIP. But even then, I'd want to see more discussion of these hard choices. Probably, since you can't just lay down the law on these things, but be more a discussion of these are the things that are quite clear. I've seen some discussion of it that just goes into do we just mean the core computational part of the EVM? But what about that last stretch of call op codes that relates to the environment that it's in, which is a whole nother layer of complication.
Sounds good. So if that's okay, could we just drop this from the agenda for the next meeting and let the discussion be continued on Fellowship of Ethereum Magician, as we can see that it's already getting some traction and people are sharing thoughts over there.
Yeah, they may want some feedback, beyond that discussion, more feedback from the editors that this should be informational. And as such should probably incorporate more of the discussion in order to be informative. But there's just nobody in a position to lay down the law on this.
Yeah, I think the proposed proposal is in informational type.
It's okay.
It is.
Yeah, this is a hard one. It's
Okay. So I know it was requested in the comment of this PR to
Mhm.
have it discussed in EIPIP meeting.
Mhm.
And
Well, I'll
uh,
make a comment there if I have time. I'm looking for a job, so I'm pretty busy with that. And I'm trying to get a startup going so that I don't have to look for a job.
Exciting.
It is. We have some really cool tech, but monetizing tech is always hard.
very well. So Greg, if you can drop a comment to this PR, that would be nice to have. And we will add in the discussion section, the decisions is to continue getting more feedback on this particular proposal. Moving on to the next one is 5703. It was brought to EIPIP meeting a couple of more times earlier. We mentioned the last time that we should bring it back after a few weeks to see where EIP editors are on this proposal. So this proposal is to add Victor as an EIP editor. Victor is here with us in the meeting today. And yeah, Greg and Sam, if you guys have any thoughts on that. And yeah, we do have Victor. So if you have any questions for him.
I have nothing new to add. I think this would be something that needs Matt again.
Matt is unavailable on a very good day. Victor, if you would like to add anything from the last conversation.
Yeah, I left some of my thoughts in writing, and love to hear what people think and get some feedback. And I do see that this capacity of EIP editors are not catching up enough with the big development in the activities of ERC proposals. So we want to kind of provide my capacity to help.
Yeah, I think we're definitely short editors for ERCs. And you know, I think I've gotten to know you reasonably well, so I don't think I'd have a problem adding you as an editor. But that's the same, I think, as last time. I think Matt, I think, is the biggest objector. So I don't know if we can do anything until Matt's here.
I've talked with Annette about this a little bit and mentioned it many times. I haven't been in a position to do any work on it, or at least I haven't done any. But we'd really, I think, intended for the magicians and working groups to help here a lot more. And the working group concept, I don't think is really panned out that well, partly because we just don't do enough in person, and partly, I don't know why. But anyway, if you have more of a peer review process, then the editors more have the right to, finally merge the thing. But we shouldn't need tons of actual editors to do the review of these. It seems that for any given ERC, there should be one or two people in the community who can take a look at that and review it with some amount of subject expertise. There's just so many of them, and they span a wide range of topics. And I'm not sure what a good way is to pull in peer review. Some journals I know will ask the author to recommend reviewers.
I love to kind of help out in if needed to design the review process. But I guess the question now is for you to see what you're feeling about adding me as editor, so that I can kind of help out, or do you prefer that I stay out of not stay out of editing and kind of help out in other ways?
Oh, I would like to add you as an editor. This is a more general point that we need a way to get people reviewing particular ERCs without a commitment to review lots of them. Most people don't care about most ERCs.
Yeah, I would say the big list of peer reviewers that I compiled has 90% been completely useless. So need to go back to the drawing board on that one.
What if we ask the ERC author to find a reviewer?
I think we try to do that. I mean, I do when I like talk to people, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we can do that. I think that's a good idea. Just make it a general policy to make a comment saying that they should nominate and add a reviewer.
Nominate, ask for volunteers. I don't know. The magician serves as a good forum for discussing things, but it's been a hard way to get anyone organized to do anything.
Thanks, Greg. So can I also I appreciate your encouragement. And for Sam, can I get a sense of do you prefer me to stay out of editing, or do you prefer me to kind of continue contributing on the editing side? When I get rejected from the being added as editor, I saw the signal being puzzled. Like I'm not sure what it means. Like, am I not editing in the right way? If so, then what is the area to improve, or kind of what is the signal that that you like in your mind?
I don't think I'm opposed to you being an editor. Like, I think you've demonstrated like you give good feedback, you participate in the process. Like, I think you've met all of the like technical, like you've met all of the bars that I would set for your contributions to be an editor. I think like that's great. I think you've definitely at least you've said that you're willing to put like the principles of the EIP thing up like above your own for like this part for the process. Like, you're okay with, not allowing like allowing origins that charge for links. Well, like I'm not, and I think those kind of discussions are good, but you're okay enforcing the rules as we decided as editors, and I think that's, the most we can ask for new members. So I don't think I have a problem with you being an editor. I think you just need to talk to Matt. He's the only person who is like very much against it.
Yeah, let's talk about Matt's. So I saw the different behaviors in Matt's, or different standards in Matt's activity. What happens is that on the items of numbering 5,000, despite that all EIPR editors were agreed to put on hold, he go ahead and issue a number and decline other people's request to revert his
Yeah.
editing. And then in the same situation where 3 editors shows, at least I think Panda and Greg shows support in my being editor, and you at the time was supporting, but now even if you're neutral, was executing adding me as an editor. And then so he come up and respond no. So how does governance work in this situation? I mean, in Matt's own standards, should in a general consensus be adopted, or should general consensus be able to block by one editor? If it's okay to be blocked by one editor, then Mikhail back in the time was an editor and he blocked it, and Matt go on and execute it. So I'm curious what our governance approach is to this type of disagreement.
It used to be very informal. but we never used to run into this sort of stuff. We disagree and we keep talking until we reach consensus.
That usually means that a person that speaks loud enough is able to basically block anyone else, right? Because the reason I ask is not about personally, but in general, in any community, if that is the approach, then the person who stands down still would get the best of the most weight of it. And then it basically paralyzes the system if someone's trying to block.
Well, personally, I think we're imposing too high a standard to get things into draft. Lots of things I think we could handle in the review process. We're trying to impose on draft, and it's making it harder. It's making it harder on us anyway. Yeah, it used to be a draft was just a draft, and pretty much if it if it was readable English and met the formal standards, and the formal standards weren't that hard, it got in as a draft. And then when it went to review status, there was plenty of time to deal with these things. But anyway, we didn't used to have a lot of trouble reaching consensus. And it wasn't a matter of who talked loudest. It was, finally, getting consensus on the arguments. But things have changed. We have more people and stronger opinions, apparently. But in general, in such situations, Matt has to decide am I blocking? It's really so important to me that I won't let this person be an editor, or I don't want him to be an editor, but if everyone else is for it, I'll stand aside and that just express my opinion and move on. And so it's kind of Matt's call there. And then it becomes the group's call to say either, okay, this is a legitimate block and we'll move on, or okay, we've heard you out, Matt, but we don't feel that you've got legitimate reasons to block this. And we need this editor. We want this editor. And we're going to move on despite your objections. And if your objections are so strong that you want to quit being an editor, well, we're sorry. And as I said, I have not wanted to pay attention to this, so I don't know at what state we're at, but I think it's kind of up to Matt to make it really clear this is so important to him that he'd rather stop being an editor than to go with the consensus.
Thanks, Greg. I think that's very clear to me.
Yeah, there's three states. Either you agree with the consensus, you disagree, but you're not going to block it, or you block it. And then if you block it, the whole group has to decide what to do with that block. And really consider the arguments for the block. And the arguments then matter, not the opinion, the arguments.
Thank you, Greg.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Greg. So while Matt is not here, I don't see a point of having continued discussion on the topic. Like maybe he may have a different opinion by this time by looking into your contribution or by looking into the arguments or the comment that you have added on the pull request. We should wait for his thoughts. As Greg mentioned, that we would come back to his points, why it was blocked in the first place, and if that holds true even now, then the blocking could be continued. But if that does not hold correct at this point and it has been addressed, so probably we can go ahead with that. But in his absence, I don't think it would be good to come to a conclusion.
Agreed.
So we table this until Matt's here, I guess.
Yep.
I hope he joins the next meeting so we can come to a decision on onboarding sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next item, which we kind of partially discussed in this prior discussion of adding one more editor. So it was from the last meeting, Sam, it may be referred to you. We were trying to understand the prerequisite for someone to be considered as a viable reviewer, so we can help you like get more reviewers. And if there is any documentation or any resource that we can point it to new EIP authors or authors who are experienced, yeah, they can follow and help with the peer reviewing process.
There are no requirements to be a peer reviewer. You can just let me know. I'll put you on the list, and then I'll ping you sometimes. That's it.
So is that list available with all EIP editors, maybe placed somewhere, or how it is?
Yeah, there's a HackMD that I've sent to all the editors, and I can do it again if anybody needs it.
Anybody can show up and
Yeah.
review.
Exactly. It's just this is a list of people that have volunteered to be messaged and like directly like named
Yeah.
to do a review. So
That's great.
I have also been kind of test out another approach in complement to that, and I want to hear editors' feedback on this approach. Whenever a new ERC or EIP was fired, I would jump in and ask, hey, have you seen this other EIP? If so, like, can you elaborate your difference or how your dependency work out, and maybe reach out to collaborate? And if not, then or if they reject it or you intend not to, just mention that in the merit. So I kind of use that as a way to both force them to do some more research, elaborate, and also kind of find an opportunity for them to ping and discover and ping relevant editors and relevant authors, so they can have a chance to talk. Well, using that as a one way to trigger ad hoc reviews.
yep, sounds good.
Are you talking about proposals that are closely related, but the authors may not know that?
Yeah, I would generally try to kind of put down what I think is looks relevant or sounds relevant, either relevant in that they solve the same problem and they're competing, or relevant in that it might be useful to be dependency of one another. And then I'll ask them what they think about, and encourage them to reach out and ask for either reviews or collaborate or make a decision to compete.
Would you mind maybe documenting that, Victor, and share it?
Yeah, I think that's what I put down in the EIP author handbook, just to say that you should do research and you should reach out to people who have relevant EIPs. And I was waiting for this group to approve that into a informational EIP, so that I can point people to from a more canonical links.
Okay, I think that is coming from the last meeting, if I have not mistaken, the strawman proposal. Are we talking about that?
Oh, the strawman proposals are different.
Okay.
It's related, but slightly different. It's about what qualification do you need to have to advance as a to the next status, because people come up asking. Yeah, so that needs to be addressed. I don't know if we will have enough time today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have made a mention to an earlier document that was published by Cat Herders, stating like for which status what we need to have. If there is anything more to it, I'm happy to update that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I do not have the link handy for the editor's handbook that you are talking about, if you would like to share for rest of the editors to maybe take a look. Okay. So that's mostly related to issues and pull requests. Those were added for today's discussion. And we had quite a few discussion on the peer reviewing process as well. As Sam mentioned that we would be looking for more reviewers because the present list is not good enough to continue with the peer reviewing process. So if anyone interested listening to this call, please reach out to EIP editors, Sam or anyone, and have yourself listed. It would be helpful if you have already authored any earlier proposal, you know the process, and you are like in a position to actually review the proposal which is coming up next to become an Ethereum standard. So yeah, help us out with that. Moving on, the next sub-item I have listed here is open issues. I'm not sure if we can take all the issues today, but if people can quickly take a look and let us know which can be closed, because now this is like growing. It's 18. Yeah, I can see 18 here. First two. Yeah, anyone has any thought on any of the issues that can be closed by just taking a high level look here?
A quick skim. We should not hide stagnant. Withdrawn, even that's a maybe, but not stagnant, because stagnant, they just get moved automatically. And so you don't know whether the author is intending to get back to work on it in the future or not. And on the page that I think the foundation maintains, that pulls out all the EIPs together, the stagnant ones will just disappear. And I don't think that'll be at all a good thing. I think I've got one or two that have gone stagnant, but they're still referenced by other people. I'm likely to resurface one of them, but all of EOF has to get in first. So sometime next year, I'll resurface it. But if it's fallen off the list and I can't reference it, it gets harder. So if something's withdrawn, well, it's withdrawn, but even then it can be useful published information. So it just seems.
Yeah, I'm kind of against getting rid of them too. I think we can probably close that one.
So by closing here means that, I mean, we are allowing people to add withdrawn in required section.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still talking about just hiding them from the list.
Oh, no. So the I think if I'm correct, are we discussing the issue number 6131? Greg?
I'm just looking at the titles on the issues page.
Yeah. So the second one.
6027. It's really
Okay.
small type. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I really need new reading glasses.
Oh, no, you are correct. I think I misread it. So I was like on top 5 and you were looking way beyond that. So fair enough. So
Well,
yeah.
6027.
Okay, so we are good to close this. That means we do not need to hide anything like stagnant or withdrawn from the list, or is that the correct understanding
Yeah.
of the decision? Okay, very well.
I don't know who maintains that page. If they want to make it a 2-pager and move them over to a second page, something like that. If they feel like the web page is just getting too long, I don't know. That's sort of a web page design issue.
Okay, yeah, that's Panda that does most of that.
Yes.
So
So we can go ahead and close this one, right?
I think
Yeah.
I'll rename it because we agree we don't want to hide them, but Greg, you did say you might be okay with making them less visible. So
Yeah, I can understand
okay.
that. It's a very long
Perfect.
list, but it doesn't bother me that it's long, but it is a web page design issue. I just don't want them to be inaccessible.
So toggle button would help there, right?
Hmm?
Toggle button. I think that is the proposal. We can have a button toggle. If people want to see it, they can click on the option. If not, then it would not be shown.
Yeah, or just page one, page two. Whatever. I don't care how it's done. I just, if we have a list of EIPs, I want all of the EIPs to be on that list somehow.
Okay, that's good. At least we are able to come to decision for
Like I
one
said.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have about 6 minutes left. If we can look into anything else. Version
Your
5.
issue about linking to withdrawn EIPs in required, I think we can close that one. There's no real reason to do it except to say like we're using a little bit like a piece from a withdrawn EIP, but I don't think there's any technical reason why we should disallow links to withdrawn EIPs. So
Actually, the one technical reason was that we should allow only EIP which reaches to a final status and withdrawn does not complete the cycle. It gets terminated before getting to the final status.
but a withdrawn EIP can't be edited or changed or anything.
No.
So I think it's fine to put it in requires. Like it's like even though it doesn't go through the entire process, it's done. It can't change. So I think it's fine to link to it.
Well, no, it hasn't been reviewed to a state that we're agreed that it's, even technically accurate. So you're linking over to something that might be nonsense. You're just
Is
go
that-
ahead
Is that a
and
problem?
yes, it is. If just incorporate what you need directly into your own EIP at that point.
Okay,
It's,
then yeah.
that's my thought. It's withdrawn, so it's as good as gone from that point of view. So maybe maybe as information it could be useful, but so it goes. If what's in that withdrawn EIP is required, that is, it's normative, then but the withdrawn EIP, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, please go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm still weekly okay with allowing links to it, but if you guys want to change it, I can change it.
I certainly in the specification section, you just can't, you can't refer to something that isn't a standard of some sort. In a motivation section, you could maybe say that this IP was withdrawn and the current EIP is a replacement for it. It could be of historical interest, things like that. But I don't think we've really discussed my opinion that we should have different requirements and much tighter requirements for the specification section of an EIP and much looser requirements for motivation and rationale. So that's sort of a different discussion that's closely related. It's much easier to just disallow it right now and take it up on a case-by-case basis. Because I don't think many people will want to do it.
Right. Yeah, this is not a frequent case. We are just trying to clarify it for people who may come up with this in future. Like right now, if I understand correct, the current EIP bot has this check that it does not allow any EIP in required section whose status is prior to the current status of the EIP. Say, for example, EIP X has a status of review. It cannot have any EIP Y in draft status.
Mhm. That's a little harsh for me, but I'm not going to argue about it. But the IEEE has the same policy that once something becomes an internet standard, everything that it refers to normative. The IEEE has that rule. It also makes a clear distinction between normative and non-normative links. And once something goes to standard, all normative links must be links to standards. So if we're following that model, which was our original model, certainly by the time you get to final, everything that's required has to also be final, or the final product of some other standards organization that we've decided that we'll count on. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Sam, do you think this is the present model of our EIP, and we can probably have it like if we agree to this model that we want to have EIPs in required section which reaches to final status, we probably cannot have EIP which are in withdrawn, right? We will never have it in final status.
Sure.
Yeah, in that case, we may have to make changes at two places, maybe in the bot as well, as having it added to the EIP1 probably, so people don't get confused and come up with this question again, like what can be added in required section. Okay. Okay, so we are at time. I don't think we have any more time to take up on any further issues. We'll try to take a few in the next meeting. I quickly want to just talk about a few other things. We have added EIPS Insight for the month of January. We have 14 EIPs in review status and 3 in last call status. The last call status EIPs are, I'm gonna quickly check here. That is EIP 5267, which is retrieval of EIP 712 domain, and the deadline is 23rd January, which has already passed. There is another one, 2135 consumable interface. The deadline is February 1st. And EIP 6150 hierarchical NFT, which is 25 January, that is today. So if people have any thoughts, comments, they would like to add last minute comment for authors, please go ahead and do that. Otherwise, these proposals can be moved towards the final status with the addition of a new pull request. A couple of quick announcements. Ethereum Magician, Anat and Victor from Ethereum Cat Herders have organized a session on ETH Denver. I think it is on March 2nd. I have added the link here in the agenda for people who are there in Denver. Please try to attend it. It is a session for all EIP authors. You can come and talk and meet other people, meet other authors, share your idea. Probably we can get some implementation of these proposals during the ETH Denver. And there is another one, Interrupt Summit. We have a governance session there. I and Matt would be there. So people, if you are around, please try to join us, share your thought with us. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. I have had a look on the action items from the last meeting. I think we have covered almost all of them. Yeah, anyone else has anything to
Yeah,
share?
just really quick. I left the notes here. Generally, is the topic proposal job to try and document meeting notes, but for 5703 pull request that adding me as added item, I should probably recuse myself. So who should be the best to kind of document this, what we discussed today?
I am perfectly fine with you documenting it.
Oh, can you, Sam? Can you? I wonder if you actually it would be better for you because you are at least neutral.
If you
And I apparently
what are you
cast a
documenting?
bias, so
In
our discussion today. Yeah.
hang on.
I am going to leave a comment at the end of the agenda with whatever we have decided with for today's discussion. I'll try to include it over there if that's helpful, Victor.
That will work.
And like from the past meeting, I have started this as a practice that whatever we conclude in the meeting should be added in the agenda so people get an idea on a very high level what was discussed in the meeting if they missed attending the meeting.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I usually document, but this one I should recuse for.
Not a problem.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope to see you all in 2 weeks at 1600 UTC. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.